Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are diving into a profoundly transformative, honestly kind of mind-blowing concept from Thomas Alethia's book, 12 Steps to a Good Life. We're going to map out the heroic act of confronting our past, specifically focusing on what the author calls Step 8. It's this pivotal make-or-break moment on the journey of self-actualization that requires us to face our absolute deepest, most buried fears head-on. Okay, let's dive into this. The legendary psychologist Carl Jung once said, "No tree can grow to heaven unless its roots reach down to hell." And wow, that just perfectly captures what Alethia identifies in the book as the perennial struggle. Now, this isn't just some niche concept for people dealing with severe addiction. No, this is a totally universal human experience. It's the anxiety, the guilt, and that nagging feeling that we are constantly wrestling with our own shadows. It's that intense tension between exactly who we are right now and who we desperately long to become. And we see this perennial struggle show up in our daily lives in ways I'm sure we all recognize. Maybe for you, it's a relentless need for control, just to keep the chaos of the world at bay. Or maybe it's a paralyzing fear of rejection. Perhaps you feel that heavy, wet blanket of guilt and shame, or existential anxiety, or just a persistent sense of helplessness and victimhood. But the author makes an absolutely crucial point here. These things, they are not flaws. They are not weaknesses. They are just an inescapable part of the human experience that every single one of us shares. You aren't broken. You're just human, trying to navigate a really complicated world. Section 1. An Epic Hero's Journey. Bridging the 12 Steps and Mythology. So how in the world do we navigate this struggle without letting it completely crush us? Well, the book provides this fascinating map, seamlessly blending the really pragmatic 12-step recovery model with Joseph Campbell's legendary hero's journey. And I've got to say, this reframing is entirely paradigm shifting. Traditionally, people view the 12 steps as clinical, right? Focused solely on fixing an addiction. It can honestly feel like a punishment or a rigid set of rules just for fixing a problem. But Alethia's view transforms them into a mythic universal human transformation. It's literally an epic quest for self-actualization. Instead of a chore, the steps become a thrilling adventure where you are the hero, leaving your comfort zone and venturing into the great unknown to acquire deep, life-changing wisdom. Let's trace this path together. It starts with step 1, where the journey begins, simply by admitting our current state is unmanageable. Then we cross the threshold in steps 2 and 3, finding the courage to rely on something way bigger than ourselves. Steps 4 and 5 represent the challenge of looking completely inward to take a really honest inventory. Then comes the pivotal phase we're heavily focusing on today, steps 8 and 9, which is atonement. And finally, we return home completely transformed in steps 10, 11, and 12. It's this beautiful, complete cycle of leaving the known, surviving the trials, and returning forever changed. Section 2. The Fear of Atonement. Approaching Step 8. Now, as we enter this phase of the journey, the stakes get incredibly high. Step 8 asks us to willingly make a list of the harm we've caused, which, let's be real, feels like deliberately digging up graves we've spent an absolute lifetime trying to pave over. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the exact psychological hurdle that keeps us paralyzed. Look at the stark difference between these two definitions. Guilt is the belief that you did something wrong, but shame? Shame is the insidious, much deeper belief that you are something wrong. Both of these incredibly powerful emotions hold us back. They build a massive wall of resistance that tells us to hide our past mistakes rather than bravely confronting them. But as this fantastic Brené Brown quote highlights, trying to bury the past simply doesn't heal you. I mean, our history doesn't just magically disappear because we refuse to look at it, right? The author insists that achieving actual, lasting inner peace requires exploring our own behavior. Not to wallow in self-recrimination, and definitely not to beat ourselves up endlessly, but to own our story completely so we can finally move forward without all that heavy baggage dragging us down. Section 3. Belly of the Beast. The Ultimate Trial. This brings us to the absolute climax of this explainer, the exact moment our hero has been preparing for. So I have to ask you, how do we actually face the terrifying weight of our past? How does a hero overcome that incredibly natural, totally paralyzing resistance to digging up buried mistakes and admitting where they went wrong? It's human nature to run away from pain, right? To avoid the scary things hiding in the dark. To answer that, the author uses a phenomenal metaphor from ancient myth. Think of the mighty Hercules. During his 12 labors, which, by the way, were literally grand tasks of atonement for his own terrible past mistakes, he came across a village being terrorized by this massive sea monster. Now, Hercules didn't run away. He didn't stand on the shore chucking spears from a safe distance. No. He took the most direct approach imaginable. He willfully dove directly into the monster's open mouth, let it swallow him whole, and then literally cut his way out from the inside. And this brilliantly illustrates the emotional core of Step 8. You cannot run from your past mistakes. You can't just fight them from a comfortable distance. Truly conquering the fear of the harm you've caused requires taking the most direct approach possible. You must enter the belly of the beast. You literally have to let the fear of confronting your own damage swallow you whole. You have to feel all the guilt and the anxiety it brings so you can meticulously cut your way out from the inside. That and only that is how the monster of your past is finally slain. Section 4. Actionable takeaways. Grounding the myth into reality. Let's move to and see how this builds from high-flying, dramatic mythology right back down to day-to-day practical reality. How do we actually dive into the beast's mouth in our own everyday lives? Taking responsibility in Step 8 involves 3 very pragmatic, grounded actions. First, make a list of the harm you've caused. Just get a pen, sit down, and write it out honestly. Second, and this is incredibly crucial, include yourself on that list. You deserve the exact same compassion and forgiveness for the harm you've caused yourself as anyone else does. And third, do not look ahead to Step 9. Step 9 is about making the actual amends, doing the apologies, and the restitution. But if you sit there worrying about how you're going to fix it right now, you'll get completely paralyzed by the fear. Just stay present with making the list. Also, we need to broaden our definition of what harm actually means. It's not just the obvious direct wrongs like lying or stealing. Harm includes missed opportunities to show care to the people around you. It includes neglecting your own physical, emotional, or spiritual health. It even includes refusing to make the world a better place when you absolutely had the chance. Emotional withdrawal and inaction, they require atonement in this heroic framework just as much as our active mistakes do.
Section 5. Returning transformed. The journey continues.
So what happens after you slay that monster and begin setting things right? Because remember, slaying the beast isn't some one-and-done task. It initiates a completely new, empowered way to approach your life moving forward. This is the return home phase of the monomyth. You continue to take a daily inventory in Step 10, so you catch your mistakes as they happen, way before they turn into new, terrifying monsters. You seek guidance, connection, and mindfulness in Step 11. And finally, in Step 12, you take all this incredible, hard-won wisdom and you use it to make the world a better place. By integrating these lessons, the hero, and yes, that's you, gets to live a truly good life. You replace those repetitive, draining anxieties with a beautiful, continuous cycle of growth and outward contribution. So the crucial point is, we all have a beast waiting for us. We all have a past completely filled with mistakes and regrets that needs confronting if we ever want to live fully and peacefully in the present moment. So I want to leave you with this provocative question to ponder on your own time. What beast are you still running from? And more importantly, are you finally ready to stop running, grab your sword, and step right into the belly of the beast? Thank you so much for exploring this incredible framework with me today on The Explainer. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep facing your journey head on. Catch you next time.